Welcome to Three Voices Unfiltered, where no topic is off limits and everything gets real. Join us,
Ranisha,
Teresa,
Suzanne, as we dive into hot topics, share our wildest experiences, and bear our honest opinions and thoughts. Buckle up, because with us, it's always raw, always vibrant, and absolutely unfiltered.
hello everyone. Welcome to another episode. We're excited to talk about this topic. You know, as people in the world experiencing other folks, should we be minding our business or should we be, reporting what we see? Should we?
That's a tough one.
it is.
What should we be doing out here in these streets?
When we're either speaking up or staying quiet, or how about so it makes me think about videos when somebody's getting hurt or somebody's drowning or somebody is getting beat up and somebody's recording and not helping.
I know. I've seen those. I hate those.
How do you deal with that? Like, if I was the victim, remember a few years ago, a lady was raped on a subway in New York?
No.
People were recording it. Nobody was helping her.
Oh,
I couldn't do
That's
that. I think I
awful.
would jump in. I would be like, John, you do it.
Well, I saw a video recently where this gentleman was trying to take this young lady in broad daylight, and I believe it was on a train platform.
I think I saw that.
And
I didn't
these
see that.
guys jumped in and they beat him down. And the guy was kind of a big heavy set kind of guy, and he kind of got loose from them, and then he went and grabbed that young lady again.
Still?
Yes. And they got him, and she was able to get
Wow.
away. So that was an incident where it was meant for them to intervene. I don't know if I see somebody arguing, say a man and a woman, and let's say they're arguing, I would jump in. I don't know. I don't think I would.
I'm thinking, and I do have an example of, we were on a cruise. I don't know, a cruise last year, the year before, doesn't matter. And these two little boys were running. They might have been about 7. And they were running, two little boys loose, which that's a whole nother debate, whether children should be loose running around a cruise on their own. But
Right.
they were. And they bumped into a gentleman. He cursed them out. You little blankety blank.
Ooh.
Watch where the blankety blank you're going. And the little boy stopped, and they're looking at him stunned, like scared. They didn't know what to do. I did jump in, and I said, excuse me. I looked at the little boys, and I said, you guys are fine. You didn't do anything. And shame on you. Why are you talking to these children that way?
Yeah.
Probably was
I
drinking.
said, you're being a bully. Like, these are kids.
Probably drinking,
And the little
Suzanne.
boys took off running. He didn't say anything to me,
Yeah.
probably because I had John with me. But he probably would, if I'd have been by myself, he probably would have given me a few choice words. But no, don't speak to them that way. They're not your children.
Yeah, one of the things that I do is if I'm in the supermarket or store outside in public, and children are just crying,
Running
or
amok,
throwing
screaming.
fits, so whatever the case may be. The one thing I kind of don't mind my business. I kind of look at them.
Me too. I'll be like,
I would look at them, and then
That's what I do.
I have learned not to look at them sternly, because I used to do that,
I do
back in the day. But I would look at them and I would smile. I would try to get their attention, because I just think about the mother.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, we
She's
don't
overwhelmed.
know what she's going through. I even think about the child, if that child is on the autism spectrum.
That's true.
Because I was in a thrift store about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this child was just screaming to the top of his lungs, and his grandmother was trying to calm him down. And because I was looking, I'm looking, and she said that, he has autism. And so then I started talking to him. Started talking to him to help her, because she was struggling.
I bet. It was
So I
overwhelming.
didn't mind my business in that incident.
There was a situation, I was at Walmart and I saw this little girl just walking around by herself. I'm like, that's odd. And I was shopping. I kept seeing her. I'm like, let me go see what's going on with this child. So I walked up to her. I was like, do you know where your mommy is? And she said, no.
Oh, no.
I was like, okay. So let's go up here and, see if we can find her. So I grabbed her hand. I walked to customer service and they asked, if so-and-so, please come to customer service. They tried to do it in a way where some random wouldn't try to come up and take her.
Right.
But look how easily that little girl went with you. You could have walked out the door and nabbed her and taken her.
Yeah, she did. But
that's scary.
Yeah, like who leaves their child? Like the parent part is the one. I tend to jump in with kids more often than anything else because of my children and being a single mom and raising kids. I know how you need a village to take care of children. So if I see a child that looks like they're lost or looks like they need something, I'm always trying to go and ask.
Yeah, that happened to me one time. I was in a store called Ross Dress for Less, and it was a little girl, and she was just standing there, and people were just walking by her, and you can tell she was distraught. She was, teary-eyed or whatever. And so I said, well, what's your mommy's name? I think I said, is your mommy here? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, what's your mommy's name? And the child gave me, the mother's name. And then this gentleman came up. And I asked this child, do you know him? I did. I said, do you know him? And he said, yeah. And so the guy was, and then here comes the mom, with her shopping cart or whatever. But they act like they were not fazed about this, not having this child with them, with them. But I did ask that child, I'm just not going to release this child to you. Do you know who he is?
I'm really aware of when I go to gas stations or bathrooms for human trafficking. I pay attention.
That's true.
I pay attention to the children to see if they look distraught, to see if they're staring at me and somehow giving me any signal that they need help. I do look out for that.
Good.
I'm purposely aware.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, so I'm gonna start doing that because I've never really
human
thought about
trafficking
that.
is huge right now.
It really is, especially for our young ladies.
Why are we afraid to confront a situation or speak up? Are there any examples where you would be afraid?
Bernicia, people are crazy.
There's just too much weapons and...
Like, I'm not breaking up a fight. Yeah, I'm just going to call the police.
Yeah, same.
I'm not breaking up a fight because even the police have gotten hurt from going in and breaking up fights, like domestic fights and all these things. I'm not doing that.
Yes, you don't know what somebody's mindset is. First of all, it caused them to behave a certain way in that instant.
Yeah.
And it could be the last straw. You just don't know. So... I don't know. You just got to just rely on your discernment, I guess.
Yeah, that's important. Your discernment and what you feel. But yeah, I'm not doing anything that's going to get me hurt. Just like I told you about the swimming incident with the children. I'm not drowning. I'm not drowning for anybody's kids. Like now.
There's a really good short about that out there. If you guys want to watch it. But I feel that I don't know. I'm kind of feisty. So I think depending on the situation, I might, I'm not going to say I will. I think I would jump in or push John too.
Poor John.
John, do it.
You jumping in a fight?
If I see a man beating a woman, that would really get to me.
911.
I would call the police, but I think I would be at least yelling at him. You need me. Look, there was a fight when I worked at the college. I was teaching math, and we don't do math. And I was teaching high school equivalency courses or course. So it was there's a grown kids. They're not, little. They're adults.
Yeah.
And suddenly I walked right by them. They were fine. And a second later, they were at each other. They're fighting. And I didn't touch them because I didn't want to get punched in the process.
Yeah.
But I chased them and I'm like, stop. And whenever, one would sack the other, I'm like, stop hitting him. And I've chased him all around the room. I didn't call security. Somebody else called security. Oh, the people, because we're on the second floor, the people downstairs below us called security because they could hear the ruckus.
Wow.
And I didn't even try. I was trying to break them up. And to the point where they cornered me because I'm following them around as they're fighting. And I ended up being cornered. They're both fighting in front of me. And this one student was like, Miss T, if they'd have touched you, I'd have jumped in. And I'm like, so anyhow, yeah. So I did do that. I didn't touch him because I want to get decked in the process.
That's why I'm not going back.
But I
to
did
teaching.
get in there. I did get in their face.
All right, let me ask you guys about this type of scenario. What if you're out in a restaurant and you see your friends or your family members' significant other in the restaurant, clearly hugged up, lovey-dovey with another person? Would you tell your friend, family member, what you saw?
I've been and I didn't.
I'm telling.
I didn't tell.
I'm going to do more than just tell. I'm going to take a picture. Because these days, people want receipts. You can't
They
just
don't
say,
believe you.
Right. You can't say, girl, I saw your man. No. You got to take a picture so they can see, look, that's your man. Look at him.
And some people, even with receipts and evidence, they still won't believe it.
That's true.
They don't believe it. So
That's a tough one because it can get into the. I've seen it and I haven't said anything because he or she will work their way out of with some kind of crazy stories.
That's true.
And then my friend's mad at me. So I did have a situation where a friend's husband declared himself to me.
Declared?
Yeah,
I remember. I think I know what you're talking about.
They
Explain how he declared himself. He said he loved you or something?
I remember that.
Oh, Lord.
sent me a letter,
I remember.
and that was devastating. And I didn't tell her.
Ooh, did she end up marrying him? Or
Oh, they were married.
already?
That was really hard. That was really hard and painful because
That's
we were
tough.
really good friends.
Yeah.
And I thought, see, I'm getting nervous playing with my clip.
Yeah, don't do that.
But it was painful because we were really good friends.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell her.
Are they still married?
I don't know. I think so. But I feel, I don't know if I made the right decision even today.
That's the part,
Because I think people ultimately want to work out their marriages. And I think that they might have stayed together anyway. And then I'd have been the bad guy. I'd have been maybe what did you do, Suzanne, for them to feel comfortable enough to come and say that to you?
Yeah, but what would be more important? Friendship with your friendship with the friend?
What's more important? Telling your friend who she is married to? Or maybe what? Your friendship?
Maintaining your friendship with
I cut him
that person.
off. There was no question about that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
cut this person off. I didn't tell my friend. She may have found out. I told my pastor, which was a bad idea, but I won't get into that.
Your pastor was the worst.
They were bad.
that
Yeah,
old
go
pastor.
watch my spiritual abuse episode situation. But I don't know if she knows or found out. I don't know. But I didn't tell her. And my friendship to her was more important than her knowing. It's complicated. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I
can't.
I
I
was
have
so
to say it.
devastated. I didn't even know what to do.
Because
Gotcha.
if she's a good friend, this is how you get to know that, like, if you have a ride or die friend or not.
Yeah.
Because if she's a good friend, she's going to believe you. If she's not, then
I mean, I have proof. I had a letter, so there was no doubt.
I don't want to be friends with you if you're not going to believe me, because I'm
But
not going to do anything to hurt you.
But
Yeah.
I guess at that point, like I had in that type of church, when we were talking about spiritual abuse, where the pastor's wife was telling every married person because I was single that I was trying to get their man, which was totally
That
not
is
true,
so
no interest.
awful.
So I felt kind of insecure about that because after that, another sister came, or later I found out that they were told I was trying to get their husband, which was not. I have never had an affair.
I wish you had left that church like a lot sooner. I'm sorry
I
those
know,
things happened
I
to you
know,
because
'cause that's not
you did not
Christ-like.
deserve that.
It was horrible. So I think part of it was the insecurity of that
Yeah.
I didn't want it to come back to me. But what did you do for that later? Or what did you say that's not being shown? So I didn't say anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like as far as
Yeah.
were you
was
enticing
it
him?
replying to something I did or
Yeah.
said? Or yeah,
It's the thing when women are, sexually assaulted. They
Same.
want to
Yeah.
know, what did the woman do?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what she did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just like a married couple. And it doesn't have to be a married couple, but let's take a man and a woman, and the man is cheating, and the woman is going, the wife or the girlfriend is going after the female that he cheated with, and he's sitting over here just looking at the both of y'all.
Crazy.
They're
Yes.
two women fighting, and they're just like, oh. And I've seen it where then they walk off with the girlfriend. Have you seen videos like that?
No.
Two women are fighting. One's a wife, one's a girlfriend. The guy's standing there, and then he leaves his wife and walks up with the girlfriend.
And this is what amazing to me
Like,
about
we're
about
not picking on men, though. I'm not trying to pick. It happens both ways.
Okay,
It
yeah, but
does.
this is the thing about the person, the person. You heard the saying that how you get them is how you lose them. Is that the saying? How you get
Yeah.
them is how
Oh,
you
that
lose
makes
them.
sense.
That's true.
Yeah. And let's plug. We do have an episode
About sayings. Yeah.
That we are used to hearing and speaking. But anyway,
true.
yeah.
Another pastor I had told me a long time ago, like, if you come into a relationship, let's say you're married and you come to a relationship, you're single. Maybe back it up. You're single. You meet this married man, and you come into a relationship with him while he's married. You already have like this insecurity. Well, he left her for me. How do I know he's not going to leave me for somebody else? So you already, even though you may not manifest it, deep down you have that insecurity about this
Yeah.
individual because they did it.
Because they did it to the
Yeah.
person
To the
before
person
you.
before.
Yeah, but
me.
some people think that's cute. Some
That's
people
not
think,
cute.
I'm telling you, some people
That's
think that that's
awful.
cute. In other words, they conquered. I conquered this.
Like, he's
because I
mine.
took your man from you.
Yeah, like
or
they're
I took
better,
your woman,
or-
or I took your woman from you.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
about this? This is a little bit lighter. An employee or a colleague that is like stealing from work, stealing time. This happened to me where I knew this person I work with was not putting her vacation. She was always out. We were a new department, and it wasn't with y'all. It was another company.
It was just you and me, the department, so
Yeah, right.
It wasn't
it
with
wasn't
us.
me.
It wasn't her. It was another place. It was after I left. And I noticed this girl always out. I'm like, she can't have that much time because we accrued time. We accrued like 8 hours every paycheck, and we only got paid every 2 weeks. And this girl was never at work, and she said, I'm going to take PTO today. She was just telling our chair she was taking PTO. He was new and a little older, so I don't think he recognized it. And I'm like, this lady, I know she's still in time. There's no way she has this much time. I didn't say anything because I felt like it's none of my business. Let the administration, let her boss, our boss, follow up with her. But guess what? Later, she got fired for that reason.
I think I would say.
What would you say? Like,
I think I would. I think at work I may have been a little bit of a snitch. If people did things, or I did get a couple people so I had a boss. He would curse up a storm. He would be with vendors just cursing, and he would come to work hungover. You could smell the alcohol.
oh,
10 feet away. Like as soon as he opened his mouth in the morning, I'm like, okay, he was having a part. I told, because I couldn't stand it. He was my boss.
Yeah.
I couldn't
I
stand
know,
him.
Teresa, you have so
Many crazy stories, huh?
I know you do.
I have many stories, but I would just share this. One of the things I would do when I'm doing an investigation, when we're finding out, for example, that a manager says, well, this person is stealing time. They're just called stealing time, right? So I'm not just going to take your word for it, right? His or her word for it. So I'm going to look at some documentation, and I'm going to talk to some employees.
But I'm not the manager. I'm just a colleague.
No. Listen to me.
Okay.
But because I may talk to you.
Okay.
And one of the questions I might ask, and it's not to get you in trouble, because I need you to help me. I need you to help me. To remedy the situation. So I will come to you and ask the question, whatever question that is that I come up with that is necessary, and so we can get to the bottom of it. But one thing I was always careful about is the people that I do talk to that I need to support what it is that we're trying to find out, is to protect them as much as I can.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have came at you like like you did something, you did something bad. I know you withholding evidence.
I'm not saying nothing.
But
I think that if it infringes into my space and my environment at work, I surely would. I would, because for the example I gave, he was infringing. I don't want to sit here at work and you cursing
it's
up a
affecting
store.
her.
It's different.
It's affecting me.
It's affecting her.
My coworker, it wasn't impacting me that she was not.
So I can see that it's just.
I'm like, this girl is crazy, but she did get fired for it.
Yeah.
And
sometimes
eventually you can't do stuff. Everything comes to the light.
That's
Everything
right.
comes to
sometimes
light.
it does impact other employees, because now this manager, and he or she might be just rogue, but they coming in there and they're suspicious of everybody. And then managers make a mistake. Well, then we're gonna put this rule in effect by something that one person did, okay? And that's not right.
That's true, because after that we couldn't work from home. Yeah, that's true.
So
that
it does
debacle,
have the things that we do have an adverse effect on.
And when they're not there, somebody else has to pick up their slack.
Yes,
that was me. That's true.
So
but
that's
I was
what I'm
happy
saying.
when she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like the saying, it takes a bad apple to ruin the whole.
To spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
Whichever, I was going to say batch, but that wouldn't be a batch. The whole basket or whatever the
Bunch.
saying.
Yeah.
One bad apple spoils the bunch.
And that changes, like, maybe, it would have been, everybody now has to write in, their time in, their time out. We need to, because somebody does something wrong, it can affect you. So depending on what it is, I might would tell. But on the situations, like, what if you see somebody doing something in the streets or something illegal, or I don't know, you see somebody steal out of store, would you say, or would you just be like,
it just depends on.
I'm
not
leaving.
gonna say anything. You stealing out of the store, you
I'm
could
not
be
gonna-
hungry.
Yeah,
Like, you could be hungry. You could be
That's
trying to feed
true.
your kids. Like, I'm not gonna say
what if
anything.
it's clothes? Oh, it could be for your kids, I guess.
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm sorry. I don't get into that stuff. But I think we all have triggers. It depends. I know for me, it's parenting.
That's
I'm
true.
stepping in when it involves
That's
a child.
true. Yeah.
Teresa, what
Yes.
about you? When are you stepping in?
Children. I gave you the example.
Yeah.
Children.
When are you
I think-
jumping into fights?
I think children or anything, like I just have a really big thing about fairness and abuse, and anything that has to do with children or taking on the weaker or the marginalized or something. I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
I might jump in, and I may not physically try to attack someone, especially now I have a broken wing, but
Aw.
I have a big mouth. I think my mouth would open up, and I would, because I have said stuff to people. Are you serious? Like, are you kidding me? And I'll, I have called people out. I just don't. I don't like that. I don't abuse people.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you better than whatever situation that you think it's okay for you to do that? Like the man with the kids. You can't be yelling at. First of all, they're not your kids. Secondly, even if they're your kids, you shouldn't be cursing at them like that. That's not okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. And to tie this up, I think we all are, we speak up in certain situations. You brought up a good point about people who are, what word did you use? Marginalized. Yeah. I haven't had that experience, but I feel very passionate about that. So I feel like I would if I got that experience. But this was a great discussion. Let me know in the comments, like, who would you or have you spoken up? What example? What happened? Let us know so we can reply back to you.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, I want to read some stories.
Yeah, and I want to know if you would do it again. Or
Oh,
would
that's
you
a
do,
good question.
Would you do not so much do it again, but would you do something
Was it worth
differently?
it? But did it? How did it work out? Like, was it worth it, or should you have been like?
I'm trying to think. Would I go back and try to save those kids?
Would you save the kids if they have been really drowning?
They were drowning.
That's where they were drowning.
I don't know if I would do that. I hope I would, but I don't know.
I mean, it's natural for us to be self-preservation.
Yeah,
There is such thing.
self-preservation, yeah,
So
but-
it's fair to feel that way, honestly.
But as believers, we are taught that that's our job to, step in and do things when people are being hurt, and
But honestly,
mistreated.
what probably would have happened with the kids, all three would have drowned, because that's what happens. People that are saving usually, because how many you hear stories of a dad saving a kid and they both ended up drowning.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But yeah, thank you so much. It's been a great episode. Please make sure that you like, share, comment, and more importantly, subscribe
Yes, please.
to our channel. We'll
If there's
see you.
anything that we said that you love, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. We'll see you next time, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Do us a big favor and hit that like button, share this episode, and subscribe.